So if people are flying frequently, you know, and they're a platinum level, that means they're spending money, discretionary income. You know, wouldn't they be a good candidate to maybe want to give to a cause? Because rich people like to give to charity. Absolutely. And you've identified that. But you're not the charity itself. You're a facilitator. And I really want to make that clear. And I want you to make this clear.
Sure. Well, I guess to give you a brief rundown about Kula, for people that don't know about it, we've created a virtual currency for charitable giving. A virtual currency is much like a loyalty currency. The primary difference between what we do and what other loyalty programs do is our currency can only be redeemed for one thing, which is tax-deductible charitable donations.
Tax-deductible, I like that.
Yes, that was a lot of work. We got over a dozen letter rulings from the IRS, spent a lot of time on this process. It's important to make clear that we're not in the game of giving miles in kind. We're actually converting miles into cash donations. You know, there's large nonprofits out there that would love to have miles. They'd love to go fly their staff around. But the large majority of nonprofit organizations don't travel. They work in their local communities, they work at the grassroots on the ground. They need cash. There was a real divide between the private sector and the nonprofit community, specifically incentivizing the private sector to support good deeds or good causes. Generally the way that happens is for two reasons. It's for altruism, just for being good people, and for PR. We wanted to find a way where we could really monetize and measure the value of social responsibility and of philanthropy. Loyalty is the perfect industry for this, because much like a loyalty currency tries to motivate various behaviors and measures the efficacy and the value of those behaviors, if you take that same type of system and bring it into the social responsibility space, you can now start to measure and monetize the value of corporate philanthropy and CSR. So we built our platform where we can work with a number of different types of brands. We have on-pack promotions. You can earn the currency at the point of sale at brick and mortar merchants. But we're here because we're very interested in the loyalty industry as well. There's a lot of unredeemed currency out there.
Now, hold on. Let me slow you down a little bit. So let's break it down for the folks out there that may not understand. Before we get to the unredeemed loyalty currency, there's 14 trillion miles out there unredeemed. We heard about it all the time. However, you are a for-profit company that is out there facilitating the corporate governance of other for-profit companies in order to convert a lot of what they're doing into charitable causes. They're already doing this in any ways. They're going to hire a big agency to do this, whatever. You're going to facilitate that and put them in touch with people that want to give.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, when we started Kula Causes, we thought long and hard of what type of business model we wanted to utilize. And we originally were looking at being a nonprofit ourselves. But through this kind of vetting process of what we wanted to be, we recognized that being a nonprofit creates the same problem that we're trying to solve, which is that nonprofits and for-profit businesses don't speak the same language. They don't communicate very well together. We wanted to be a bridge and a conduit between these types of organizations. And we recognize the best way to do that is to do that as a for-profit business. Now, we're a social enterprise. Our entire value system is about increasing philanthropy, particularly from the corporate sector. And so our margins are quite low in comparison to pretty much everyone else in the space. But being a for-profit really enables us to work with big brands, speak the language that they speak, and help them, in some cases, hold their hands and show them a new way of doing business and a more sustainable way of doing business.
So it's kind of like, and it is late night now, so I'm breaking it down to these terms. It's kind of like you hired Mitt Romney as your consultant, your business consultant, and you got your values from Barack Obama.
Okay. Well, I don't know. We don't have a lot of Mitt Romneys on our crew, that's for sure.
But I realize that.
Well, I mean, I think the big messages and what we're trying to espouse, I think, are two things. One is a lot of brands differentiate between their social responsibility budgets or giving budgets and their marketing budgets. We're trying to cross-pollinate and bring these together. If you take your social responsibility spend and embed it into your marketing strategy, you can start engaging members, customers in the process of giving, in the process of social responsibility. This empowers them, turns them into advocates, both of your brand and the causes that you enable them to support. The other
So hang on. So people that are giving to causes they care about, using your platform, leveraging other brands, they're boasting about that on Facebook. They're like, hey, look, I just gave to Save the Dogs Flying in First Class charity, and that was facilitated by Kula Causes. People may not know that, but they're bragging about that through whatever brand that you're hired by on Facebook.
You know, it's very difficult for brands to get their customers to share their customer experiences. You know, I'm not going to go to buy a pair of shoes and post on Facebook how great the store was I bought a pair of shoes. That being said, if I give money to a cause that I care about, I want to advocate for that cause, and I'll be willing to share that with my peers. It makes me feel good about myself, and it allows me to share something meaningful with the people that I care about. Now, we bring brands into that mix. So if a brand enables me to support something I care about, whether it's my child's classroom, my church, a local NGO, and that brand enables me to give to that cause, now I'm going to be a lot more willing to share that experience with my peers and with my networks. And what we've seen on our site is for every action that takes place on the Kula platform, we're getting a 70x multiplier of people that are seeing that action. Wow. That means I'm going to share, and most people are willing to share their experience. In the process, they're sharing the brand, and we feel we're solving a pretty big problem that most brands face, is how can you really maximize the value of social media and get brand exposure through that channel.
But then there are some really bizarre charities, and there are a lot of brands out there. I mean, it's called a Fortune 500 for a reason. You realize that. And there's like a Fortune 1000 and a Miss Fortune 5000 and whatnot. So you're going after all these guys, and you're going to say, look, I've got all these charitable causes to offer you, but really you don't have bizarre stuff like what I'm thinking of. Like, you know, just give random well-educated Jamaicans a chance to get seed funding for their little loyalty project or something like that. I mean, what do you have to offer, I mean, besides your spyglasses?
Well, as much as I would love to support a loyalty-oriented Jamaican in our platform, it's very important that we provide vetted organizations. You know, particularly post 9/11, you know, there's been a lot of concerns about where giving goes. You want to make sure it's going to a legitimate organization that pays their taxes. It's not going to terror. It's not going to.
So wait, hold on a second. How many charities do you offer?
So right now we have over 2 million. What? It's the largest aggregation of charities in the world.
No, wait. How is that possible? You just started.
We did. So we've worked really hard at that. In some places it's been easier than others. In the US we were able to get a large amount. There's some great organizations that work via the IRS to provide databases of charities. Right. In the US there's an organization called GuideStar that's a phenomenal entity, and almost every giving platform in the US operates off that. We're the first really global giving platform. So when you do that, it takes a lot of work, both from the legal side of things, privacy policies, data, financial transfer. So we've had to try alternate routes to get some of these causes. In some countries we've petitioned the charity commissions. In others we've gone through their revenue administration or a version of the IRS. So we're constantly looking for ways to get charities in bulk. We allow charities to sign up with us. They put in extra content, they put in their social media feeds and whatnot, but our approach is to provide the ultimate choice. As you mentioned, you know, some people care about puppies, others care about vegetarianism, some care about faith, whatever it might be. So everyone has a different affinity. Right. And if you really want to engage people, you have to provide them their affinity. So our approach is provide as many vetted organizations as possible and then drive localized content. And I think this is something brands seek to do very much, and donors seek to do as well, particularly in times where the economy is tough. We don't want to give our money to a big organization. You don't know if your donation is going to pay an executive salary or get a limo for a party one night. We want to enable people to give to things close to home, where there's accountability, there's greater transparency. So even our platform drives these types of causes. It's smart content enabled. Wherever you log in the world, you'll see causes around your geographic area. You'll see, the more you use the site, you'll see causes that you care about related to your affinity. So in the end, the reason we're doing this is we don't want to create one-off donors, because you and I, we don't want to be one-off donors. donors. You know, it's one thing to throw a 5 spot in the till at the grocery store, in the box at the grocery store. But our approach is we want to turn consumers and donors into advocates. When you turn a consumer into an advocate, not only will they espouse that cause more, but they will find new ways to earn opportunities to give again, creating acquisition, creating retention, increased spend, and all the things that so many brands are seeking to do.
Everyone else that has a cause out there that can do that, there's always something out there for you. And the facilitator is Kula Causes. So with that, congratulations on being here. And, you know, I'm going to make a prediction that this man is going to be involved in a Freddie win sometime in the near future.
I hope so. I hope so. Thanks for having me.
Gerrit McGowan, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.